baby. Digital deceiver shadows live in the mix. White socks. We don't chase clout, we chase truth. Now let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. How is everybody on this Monday morning? I hope everybody is doing well. It's been a crazy few days. I mean, when I tell you that the scammers didn't give us any rest this weekend, and you want to know what's so funny? The people I covered.
A phone is connected and charging.
When I started, literally have flipped over. We don't, well, Amanda might come back, but we don't see Amanda. I mean, Chef Carl does his nonsense. Tim Nash has exit stage left. I mean, and now we have a new set. And I want y'all to understand something. All of the accusations about how we treat them, we're bullying them, we're making money off of their content, etc., etc. We've heard it all before. We've heard it all before. And guess what? We keep going because you keep going. Since Tim Nash has left, I haven't said a word about him. That's how I choose to run the program over here. You stop begging, I don't talk about you anymore. But as long as you are still begging from your audience, I'm going to bring it up. And I do what I call raising the consciousness, right? Where I try to not only just talk about what they do, but also explain things from a different perspective to, what's the word I'm looking for? To combat their nonsense. When they lie, I go find it. And I prove that they're lying. If there's something that I think is important to the greater community, I'm going to put it in a presentation. So some of my presentations are old, a year old, and a lot of the people who are here now never got to see those. So for one scammer in particular, Aaron, I've brought some of those back. Oh, he's on Epic. I'm not, listen, they're not interested in not getting money anymore. They're just interested in not getting covered anymore. He struggled to get money. I mean, Kim Peters is on Bigo, begging for gifts and money and everything else. I just don't have time to track them all down. So today might go a little long. I apologize in advance. Mods, if you can't stay, it is okay. But we're going to do some lessons around why the things he says doesn't make sense. I am also going to do DDS thoughts on Awareness Tea and the conversation I had. I was in the live last night when she got addressed, and I know everybody said like after last night they were moving on, but I want to have my say and then I'm moving on. Because let me be very clear, and you can ask Fallon because I talked to her about it behind the scenes. I will no longer give anybody with a brand new account, 0 following, 0 followers, or in that realm, who decides to try to hold other people accountable when they themselves don't hold themselves accountable, any play. And you can ask her. I told her, don't give it any play, because the more we talk about it, the more energy they get. And I'm not doing it. And y'all all know that when I have something to address, other than the one time, I address it here and I keep it pushing. I'm not going to spend an entire live addressing somebody who doesn't even hold themselves accountable. Not gonna do it. You guys don't come here to hear me address drama. You guys come here to hear me discuss the scammers. And that's what we're gonna do here always. Good morning to everybody coming in. If you are a member of the team, hit the Daily Heart Me. If not, you're new, please stick around. If you like what you hear, hit the Daily Heart Me. If not, it's okay. I don't do this based on numbers. I accept gifts. However, they're not mandatory. They are appreciated, not mandatory. Because again, I'm still going to do it regardless. I was doing this when I had 25 people or less in here. Good morning to my mods. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody enjoyed the Super Bowl last night. I know a lot of people were upset about the halftime show. And all I can say is Bad Bunny is an American, for anybody who's unfamiliar. He is an American. Puerto Rico is a part of America. And I will say this, no one cried when it was Paul McCartney. He's not an American. So why are we demanding an American? And then the little boy that he gave his Grammy to was Liam Ramos, the little boy who everybody saw the picture of, that looked like he was being, his face was pushed up against the car, not pushed up against the car, but facing the car like he was a criminal. He's 5. And for that, I think it was beautiful. Good morning, good morning. And for all of the New England Patriot fans, I apologize. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, he's such a cutie pie. Okay, let's get to what we came here for. This is the grid today. We're going to discuss Cece, Pretty Little Hobo, Christina, Kizzy, Aaron, Danica, Stella Simone. I've already told you I have thoughts. And Alexander. Yeah, Stella made the list because her attitude is ridiculous. Listen, I don't alter photos. It all comes from a screenshot. Every single one of these photos is a screenshot from either their live, thank you, Emily, from either their live or video. I don't alter a single photo. Let's talk Danica first. I don't know how many screen names she's going to come up with. I don't know if she does it because she's hoping that when people see the new screen name, they won't realize it's her and they'll keep it pushing. But for someone, wait, what, Jama? What happened? Oh, one other thing. If Please change. Wait, okay. You have updated screen name, correct, love. Oh, okay, thank you. Oh, Demika, Demika. Okay. Of course she did. Good morning, TikTok president. So, yes, that's what I was going to say, princess. Every time I change a photo, please like the live until you feel the heart's tail and then take a break. I do not care what the number is at the end. I care about two things. One, being able to maintain the live, because we know that they and their quote unquote armies don't like getting exposed. And two, so that we end up on the For You feed, because what is most important is that people who don't realize that they are scammers and liars and manipulators, that they don't get taken advantage of, and that they start to see a pattern of red flags so that when somebody new pops up, they don't get taken advantage of. That is the goal. It's the reason why I cover multiple people in a live. Could I talk about one person for 3 hours? Probably. But I find that when you point out something to somebody about a specific issue, they see it in that issue, but then they will turn around and do the same thing and be like, oh, well, they really are homeless. I want you to see the red flags, regardless of if they are single, married, with children, without children, homeless, housed, have Social Security, whatever it is. I want for you, yeah, I saw it, Gianza Oliver. I don't know if I said that wrong. I apologize. So let's talk, Danica. What I don't understand is that someone who has had as many peaks and valleys as she has had, why, when you hit a peak, you forget your valley? Not only do you forget your valley, but then you become bold. All of the humility. First of all, she doesn't have humility on her worst day, but the thankfulness goes out the door, and it becomes about other people being jealous of her. Let me explain something. Apparently, she now has a job where she's going to make more money, and she has a move-in date, which is fantastic. Not so much for her, but for her children. But I personally would rather have stability than constant peaks and valleys. The children deserve stability. How many schools have they had to change? That much moving around isn't good for a pet. Imagine a child. And it's as if she doesn't care because she doesn't think past what makes her happy. So she is in a hotel. And of course, her being in a hotel means that she's not homeless. If you can't afford to live in said hotel on a full-time basis and you're there because you have nowhere else to live, that's still classified as unhoused. Now, does it matter? No. But when you're tapping your fingers and clocking your teeth, you are literally making a fool out of yourself. So I catch her, she goes live, and I'm one of the first people in there, if not the first person. And I guess the hotel has like a buffet or something. So she goes down, she gets the children chili, and she comes back up with 2 alcoholic drinks. I have no problem with that. You're a grown adult. But it was all in the vein of being able to say to TikTok, screw you, look at me now. Where's the humility? Where's being thankful? And why does it matter what the people on TikTok think? I thought you don't care. And let's be clear, how many times have we seen this peak? She acted the exact same way when she moved into this last place. I got a place. Look at me now, me and my kids. And guess what? Now it's extreme old. It was cold. He was the worst landlord on the planet. So my suggestion is that you hold some of that braggadocious attitude and let's see if you're still living there 6 months from now. She likes to cry and say she was a tornado victim. You are a victim of multiple fires, and you happen to live in an area where a tornado did take out, unfortunately, many people's homes, and it left a lot of people unhoused. But how long are you going to claim that you being unhoused is related to a tornado? You've had 2 or 3 places since then. So is it the tornado or is it your poor behavior? It's your lack of being able to pay your rent. It's your lack of being able to manage your household properly. I don't understand it. So she comes up with the alcoholic beverage, and again, she's popping it. Yeah, what y'all got to say now? Doing the absolute most. She's like, I got to give my kids chili because chili is what they want. Did you pay for it or did you get it for free? Why is feeding your children something that you feel like you are owed a gold star? Your White Sox, get down. You're their mother. Who else is supposed to feed them? Ah, sorry guys. White Sox is White Soxing. What did that say? Close the newly most. Oh, be for real. TikTok's AI get on my nerves sometimes. So, why do you deserve a gold star for doing literally the bare minimum? White Sox. Good morning, KK. Yes, they're telling you to be a good boy. He wants in my lap so bad, and he keeps going around me, behind me, in front of me. Okay, maybe he'll be good where he is right now. So, mind you, she's in a hotel and she's talking about her success, which good for her. You were able to go get a job. Apparently it's making more money and you have a move-in date. I'm happy for you and your kids. The kids require stability. But then she goes into another room in the hotel and closes the door and was like, what? I get to close the door. I have my own room. The kids are out there. This is my own room. Again, What is why are you acting like you being able to have a room in a suite, I'm assuming, of a hotel room, anything to brag about? Did you get a voucher for the hotel? Did you pay for the hotel? Or did the people in your chat pay for the hotel? Because where'd you get the money for it? But again, when it is about proving a point to other people, when it is not about the stability for you and your children, guess what? The Bible says pride is before the fall. We will be right back in a valley. Right back in a valley. Her name is Damika. And she feels like society owes her something without her contributing to society. That's not how it works. And you want to talk about how God is blessing you, right? God doesn't appreciate your attitude in any way, shape, or form. If it came from a blessing from God, then humility is required. You know why? Because you didn't do it, God did. So why are you clocking anybody's tea? Why are you with your fingers? Now, do I hope she finds success and stability for her children? 100%. But, Damika, we've watched this show before. And your attitude hasn't changed in the slightest. And as long as you fail to have humility, life will kick your ass. It's as simple as that. And don't blame it on God. God blessed you as far as you're concerned. And when you lack humility, God will take that protection away. He won't actively harm you. He'll just say, oh, you forgot it was me? You forgot I was the blesser? No problem. Well, I'm going to remove my hands of protection and let's see how the world treats you. So we'll watch and we'll see. Good morning. Good morning. We'll watch and we'll see. Who's next? Now, weeks ago, I told y'all, oh, I'll do CC next. Weeks ago, Kizzy came on and I'm not going to tell anybody how long it should take them to get over the loss of a loved one. That is deeply personal. But she came on to talk about how difficult it was because she was trying to clean out Mama's room and her items and how difficult it was. And of course, her payment app is always up there. But she alluded to something happening in the future and that it was going to surprise everybody. And She can't talk about it now, but she will. I have never understood people who either want to maintain their privacy or don't want to talk about something but then talk about it. They always say, I don't ask. Well, how do people know you need money if you haven't told them what you needed money for and the amounts and how to get you the money? If I don't know your payment apps, I don't know what you need money for, and I don't know the amount, guess what? Then there's no room for people to offer. Stop trying to, skirt that line of I didn't ask for it. So she comes on yesterday, I believe. Which enabler is in the chat? I know beggars, I'm gonna get there. Stick around, Navy Life. Stick around. So she comes on, and now we know the story. Even though, based on everything she had said last time, I knew this was the storyline. I knew this was going to be the storyline based on everything she said weeks ago. So now, as if it was a surprise, they have to move out next weekend. You knew this weeks ago because you told your chat that something big was coming and that they would be surprised by it. So what did she do yesterday? Oh, I spent the day making videos because I can't take any of the big stuff, so I want to sell it all because I don't have anywhere to put it. So you wait a week or two prior to having to get out and drop it in people's laps like you didn't notice weeks ago. And this is what I mean by the manipulation. Because then it was like, now, how many people are going to be able to buy something from her from TikTok? Who's buying a bed from somebody on TikTok and you live clear across the country? That wasn't the point. The point was to show the payment app and say, if anybody would like to help me, here it is. Had she started this weeks ago, she could have sold to her local community and then had the money she needed to move. Okay, Georgie, have a wonderful day at work. Brenda, she doesn't expect anybody to buy anything from her for real. That's the cover for the real ask. And then she's like, I'm not begging or dry begging or anything. Well, what do you call it? You give it a name. Mind you, anybody that knows that if you want to sell quickly and you need to sell to your community because they are large items that aren't worth shipping, you go to Facebook Marketplace. But she didn't do that. She came to TikTok, where she has a community of people ready to send her money directly. And then one minute she didn't have anywhere to go, and the next minute she did. And mind you, people are like, "Do you have somewhere to go?" And she's nodding yes, and then putting her finger over her mouth like, "Be quiet." Nobody in the house can hear what people are typing in the chat. What? You act like you had somebody in the box asking you questions so that your husband could hear it. Why are you telling people to be quiet and they're just typing in the chat? She already made it clear weeks ago that she was leaving. So why are we trying to pretend like you didn't tell anybody this weeks ago? This is a long rabbit hole. A long rabbit hole that has twists and turns like you wouldn't imagine. And one of the things that people who are on the spectrum of scamming do is they use every single incident, whether it's their fault or just life, to have a reason to need to ask people for money. They'll get a hangnail and be like, "I need money because I need a set of clippers from CVS. And while I'm there, I don't have anything to drink. Oh, and I need menstrual pads and and I have medication. And even though I have Medicaid, I gotta pay $50." They will literally take any incident and find a way to need money from people on social media. Now, I did this some time ago. It's called financial enmeshment. Financial enmeshment with social media scammers happens when these scammers, often pretending to be friends, and I'll add family, get deeply involved in followers' financial decisions by creating a strong emotional connection known as a parasocial relationship. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I didn't have time to do that presentation today. They always say, "Why are we pocket watching?" Actually, you're pocket watching, because you're asking your audience to give you their money. I'm not pocket watching, you are. You're trying to make sure that you have enough people who follow you, who feel like they're your friends and family, to get money. In a financial investment situations, followers feel as if the scammer is genuinely close to them, even though the relationship is entirely one-sided and often manipulative. This creates blurred boundaries, with followers feeling responsible for helping, investing, or sending money, even to someone they've never met in real life. How it works. The scammers build trust by interacting regularly, sharing personal stories, and offering affectionate or flattering attention, like calling out their name every time they come in the live. They know who's sending them money. They convince followers that the relationship is special, often isolating them from outside opinions or making urgent requests for help or investment. Over time, followers become financially and emotionally dependent, acting on the scammer's request even when it harms their own finances. How many times have we seen somebody say, well, I have $10 on my CA. That's all I have. Could it help you? And some of them will be like, yes, please send it. That would help a whole lot. Every dollar counts. And then other ones try to act humble. Well, if it's your last $10, don't send it, but I really could use it. So, how should you avoid this? How can you move forward? Because I heard Fuck It say in the live the other night that a woman, after sending thousands and thousands of dollars, and of course the person she was helping was still in the same situation, nothing had elevated, she faked her own unaliving to get out of it. So what do? You set boundaries. Stop giving the money and avoid enabling their behavior and protect your own finances and well-being. If you feel like someone is genuinely in need of help, you set your own financial boundary. I'm going to give them $20 and no more. Because if you don't set a limit, they don't have one. They are never going to have enough. They may have enough for today or this week, but they are going to come back. And for any single person that has already sent them money, they're going to hit you up on the back end. They are going to send you a request directly from within the payment app, because they feel like if you did it once, you'll do it again. Recognize the pattern. This is why I do what I do, because I'm hoping that people will see the pattern. The friend may only be interested in you because of what you can provide them financially. How many times have we seen someone on the scammer spectrum say, well, I don't care about what you did before. I need it now. And if you can't help me now, then I have no use for you. Or if you can't help, shut up. And if you need to, and I suggest it strongly, consider ending the friendship. Because it's not a real friendship. It's a parasocial relationship. If you are constantly being taken advantage of, it may be necessary to end, and I'm going to put the parasocial relationship to improve your own well-being. Because this is what I promise. If you sent them $1,000, let's just throw out a number. You send them 100. How many of them would send you 5 back? Kiki was sent the wrong amount of money. The woman went to her and said, I sent the wrong amount of money. Can you please send it back? And Kiki was like, no. That's a friend to you? That's someone that cares about you? And Kiki is no special case. Most of them will do the same thing. And then, to drown out your requests, they'll just mute and block you. And then if you come back on a backup or another account, they'll be like, I don't know you. I've never seen you in here before. You're lying. I don't even know who that person is. Thank you. What's this? Oh, that's for Aaron. Never mind. Exactly. So Kizzy already has her only coming to her chat with what I think is 2 weeks' time is to create the sense of urgency. You could have been asking all this time. But weeks ago, people would have been like, well, Why don't you sell your stuff? Or why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? We need the sense of urgency. A red flag, if you're looking for one. By request. So I mentioned to you guys Friday that I had heard that soon after marrying this trash of a man who she claims to be pregnant by, he beat her up. The part that I didn't know that has pissed me off even more is that he hit her child. Now, I remember when I saw them live myself and put her on the list that I was disgusted that this brand new man in her son's life was allowed to discipline him, to yell at him, to take his TV from him, as if a 5-year-old isn't going to mess up. Now, I'm not saying that children shouldn't be punished, but it should be equitable to their age and their level of understanding. But see, when you're permissive and letting somebody brand new feel like they can discipline your child in that way, hitting them is right around the corner. And I don't believe that that was the first time he put hands on that child. I think it was perhaps a bad beating of both her and her child that created this need for separation. See, as long as he was loving and doting on her, she saw it as just disciplining her son. And women desperate for male interaction will allow a lot to go on under the name of discipline as long as they are getting what they want out of the situation. How many times have we seen somebody with a child introduce a new person into their child's life, male or female, and then something happens to the child? The child is unalived. The child is starved. The child is beaten to within an inch of their life. I understand you want love and companionship, but it should not come at the risk of a child that you laid down and had. But now, but now, now I done lost my train of thought. Hold on. Yep, I saw it. So now that he's hurt her in a way that she found to be too far, now it's time to address it. Now, she said some things. Let me see exactly what she said so that I could quote it accurately. I didn't write it down. She made a statement that suggested, wait a minute, that this wasn't the first time he put his hands on her. Thank you, love, because she said it went too far this time. What do you mean this time? What do you mean this time? And let's not forget how, again, braggadocious she was. Oh, I'm sorry if you don't have a man that hugs you throughout the day. This is real love. I'm sorry that you don't know it. Don't be jealous. Don't be a hater. You can find... That was just a couple of weeks ago. Throwing your relationship in our face as if we had something to be jealous and envious of. But now you want our money. So apparently she claims that she needs to get out of Dodge. She must have said that 30 times. I need to get out of Dodge. Now it seems like they already paid for her to have an oil change, and she was asking for new tires. She says that he didn't purchase that car for her. That what happened was, I guess he has an Escalade, and then he told everybody he gave her the car, but she said he didn't really give it to her. But she went along with the story. Her chat doesn't recognize the manipulation. She went along with the story. Why? Because she wanted him to seem like he was the best man in the world, that he gave her an Escalade. My question is how he have an Escalade with no job, but I digress. Oh, thank you, Cindy. So on this day, she needed $149 for a new phone. Why? Because, hey, Cat Daddy, because he smashed the one she was on. Mind you, it's the one she's been on since he was arrested. It's the one that she's been begging on all this time. But now on this particular day, she needed a brand new phone. Why? Because she needed to get out of Dodge, and that there's a bed and a place for her and her son to go. They've already approved her. She just has to get there. And she's concerned that the phone will crap out on her way. See, children nowadays act like we didn't do things prior to phones. Prior to your phone having GPS, we used to be able to go on a computer and print out directions. And prior to doing that, we used the damn map. We used the map. Thank you. You probably don't even know how to read a map. How do you think we did it before GPS? Remember, we had the GPS that you could attach to your car. A lot of cars now come with the GPS component in them. How do you think we did it before this advancement in technology? You don't have to have a phone to go from point A to point B. But see, again, we had to create a sense of urgency. Because why? He bailed himself out. And again, with what money? And she said, he's going to be out tonight and I need to get out of Dodge. Mind you, eyelashes, nails done. And she claims that somewhere, wherever she was staying, which she claimed to be a DV shelter, was a woman in there that did it for a living. So she just did it for you for free for the hell of it? Thank you, thank you. She just did it for the hell of it? Right. We used to have to go to the. I've talked about how my parents brought me encyclopedias, and the thing that I sat there and didn't understand was next year they're going to be outdated. So they created this program where every year for the next 5 years, they sent you like some volumes for updated information. But those were the things we had to use to write papers, to do research. So when you sit here in front of me and act like without a phone, you won't be able to get where you're going, I call BS. I call BS. But of course, the people in these parasocial relationships do not, if they have critical thinking skills, they literally pack it in a box and put it in a storage unit and come home. Because y'all don't see that there's other ways. Y'all can't say to her, girl, use somebody else's phone to GPS from point A to point B, write it down. No, mind you, she's like, I'm sitting in front of Walmart. She claims her little boy was in the back seat. Her little boy speaks all the time. He is constantly seeking her attention. If he had been in that car, we would have known. He is not someone who sits back and doesn't talk. He is constantly talking to her. But where was she? I'm sitting in front of Walmart and they're having a sale and the phone is $149 and I have $23. I'm more concerned about you traveling on a road with a baby with bad tires than I am you needing a new phone for your GPS situation. Mind you, she kept saying, I can barely see what you're saying, but responded to every single question, comment, especially if someone had something to say that was like not fulfilling her need to get money. She saw all of it. She's like, there's green lines up and down. Well, you've been live how many times since the incident? But initially it was, I need to get the car ready so we can get out of here. Her name is Cece, but this is the name and app that she's using. Mind you, people were like, why haven't you changed the photo or the name? And she was at first she wanted to say, I haven't had time. Then she realized, girl, what have you been doing if you don't have time? And then it was, I'm keeping it all as proof. Now, let me tell you, when you need to lie, especially when I'm paying attention, girl, I'm going to clock you every time. A moment before that, she said that when she got the new phone, she was going to trash this one. But now you need it for the court case? Anything on TikTok, like the photo and the name, it doesn't matter what phone you have. It's on TikTok. If I threw away the phone that I'm on live now, and then logged back into TikTok, everything on TikTok would still be there. So what do you mean? But 2 minutes ago, you said you were trashing the phone. And then she said that she had already given the DA all the evidence that was on the phone. So then why did you need to keep your name and photo up there like that? Why did you need to keep everything on there? If you've already given all, because she said it's already in evidence. Do you see how quickly they talk? I don't understand how a mod doesn't catch the lie. Well, they do catch it, but they are so more interested in being a mod than having integrity that they let it go by. And not everybody is swift as I am. She recognizes that there are people who were here at the beginning, they come in the middle, and they come in the end. So if she lied 3 minutes ago, there's new people in the live now. They didn't hear what she said 3 minutes ago. And that's why I exist. I exist so that I can tell you from soup to nuts where the lie is so that you don't get taken advantage of. When someone says, why do I do this? This is why. And it was funny because a lot of times I get accused of, why are you up this early doing it? Well, why don't you ask the scammer, why are they up at 3 a.m. begging for money? They expect their audience and their mods to be there. So why don't you ask them, why aren't they treating the people who support them with any respect? Puzzle piece, guys. Hold on. Okay. You said somebody, wait, I saw somebody say she almost got $65. London, I am so glad. Oh, thank you, Granny Annie. Thank you, guys. Before you ever consider giving money to anybody, put their at in the search bar. Put their at in the search bar. Because there are video after video after video of her, and she's not new to begging. She's just true to it. He has 11 felonies. It is possible. He spent what I think was 14 years in prison. Correct. That's the other thing. She acts like nobody else has been through DV, so we don't know how it works. Or we don't know the pain of it. We do. Or when they're like, I have mental health and you don't. What? You can't talk to me about mental health. And tell me I don't understand. It's fell in love, not fell in love. This is the other thing that I don't understand. You had housing, a job, your baby was in school, and you need to get out of Dodge? Oh, I know she begs every day, Rita. That's why she's up here. And she's like, he's getting out tonight and I gotta leave. She didn't leave yesterday, y'all. Because she came back on later and she was still in the same place. Thank you, Connie. She's been doing this for years. Years. Oh, I'm sure he was already out. Then she actually had a nerve to say that her advocate, her DV advocate, I'm assuming, told her to get on TikTok and beg for the money. Even if an advocate told you to do that, why is that what you do? What you don't I thought you were working. So where's your paycheck? You didn't have any money? But you're going to leave stable housing, a job, and your son. Let me just tell you something. And then, of course, and I know this to be true, that a protection order is literally a piece of paper. 100%. If a man is going to come for you, he's going to come for you. He's already breaking the law and doesn't care. And then she tried to say he has one other reason why she wanted to get rid of the phone was because she thinks he has a tracking app on it, and she's concerned that he put a tracking device on her car. But I thought you needed to keep the phone for evidence. None of it makes sense. You are scared for your life, but you were cool enough to sit there and get your eyelashes and nails done. Again, it doesn't make sense. And some random girl you just met in what was supposed to be a DV shelter just decided to do your eyelashes and nails. Do you know how much money that costs? But they just did it for free. Correct, Chief Slapaho. It's supposed to be on the car. Again, anything to make it more urgent. And Kenzie Jones, her mom, and Sunflower, constantly telling people what she needs over and over again. Why are you pocket watching the audience? Huh? Why is it that they get to make terrible decision after terrible decision after terrible decision, but TikTok is meant to fix it? I told y'all when she came out with him that this was going to be a crash and burn situation. That you thought you were better than his first baby mama, so that it wasn't going to go down like that. A man that enters your life that isn't taking care of the children he already has, red flag on the play. And then you turn around and decide to get pregnant by him. Make that make sense. You don't even know him. But because he hugs you in the middle of the day, that's all you need. And don't forget, she got all the payment apps. So you can send her money any way, shape, or form. I'm going to ask again, why are you pocket watching your audience? And why is it their responsibility to fix the terrible decisions you make over and over and over again? When this girl was with that gentleman who was on Social Security and had an apartment because of his disability, and she was living there with her son and begging every single day for every little thing. She even begged for her mama to get groceries. And they were supposed to be getting married. And she literally tried to destroy his relationship with his family, who was like, this girl is using you. When she got enough of him, she left, claiming that they weren't breaking up, but that she was sick of his family talking about how it was his apartment. So she went to a shelter with her baby so she could get housing on her own, and then she wouldn't have to worry about getting put out. I praised that. And I was like, good for you. Good for you. Take command of your own life. Have your own, and then nobody can take it away from you. But they weren't supposed to be breaking up. She was like, I'm still going to come over here every day. This going to be my man. And guess what happened? She got away from him. She didn't have to share her money with him. He was a goner. And what's crazy is that he tried to come back and beg, not realizing that she was the pull, not him, even though it should have been the other way around. Then she leaves and she ends up dating a woman. Why? Because she was able to move in that woman's house. And again, flaunting the relationship as if we should be jealous. How many times has she said she was pregnant? It's to the point where people don't even believe her anymore, even with an ultrasound. Did she get a place of her own? Where's the woman? And now she introduces us to this raggedy man as if we're supposed to be jealous of a man who, when you say where does he work, he does a lot of things. What's a lot? What resume qualifies for a lot of things? Yes, she does. I'm sorry. I'm not babying a grown adult that lays down and has children but makes one terrible decision after another. My thing is this. If the 5-year-old needed to be punished for what he did, what does his mother deserve for making bad decisions, for making mistakes? Because I love that. You discipline your children for messing up, but we're not supposed to hold grown adults accountable for the bad decisions they make. Everybody needs a little help sometimes. That's true. But how come you get to make horrible decision after horrible decision and I have to continue to give you grace? Everybody makes mistakes. Is that what you tell your children? Or do you try to correct their behavior? As long as these people continue to get money out of TikTok, they're going to continue because they don't want to learn the lesson that I can stand on my own too. Because even when they have everything they need, they still find a reason to be on TikTok begging for money. And I'm going to say it again. You have people in your family that could use the money that you wouldn't give 2 seconds to. When they call your phone and you know they're going to beg you for money, you don't even answer. There are children in your community that are hungry. When's the last time you helped them? There are homeless veterans in your community. When is the last time you helped them directly, not through an organization, that you found a homeless veteran or a homeless woman or a homeless man or a homeless child and said, you know what? I was going to send this to somebody on TikTok and I don't even know if they're going to use it for the purpose that they say. So I'm going to give it to you. They drive by homeless people all day, don't give them a second look. When they're standing on the corner begging for money, they roll up their window, turn their music up, and look the other way. But I'm supposed to give it to somebody on TikTok? Y'all gotta make it make sense for me. Next. Dang, it's already almost 8 o'clock. Lord have mercy. We're gonna have to quicken this up, girl. Stella will be quick. I don't care about Stella's politics. I find it rude that she wants money out of people, but don't be in here if you're not a liberal. It's just as bad as Feifei acting like you need to be a conservative to be in her life. One doesn't outweigh the other. I don't care who you are. I guarantee you, if a conservative offered her $1,000, she would take it. If they offered her $10, she would take it. Thank you. She would take it. So why can't I be in here? But we all know that I've had a conversation with her in the past. And just so people who aren't aware, my standard is this. You can call me, you can send me a message and tell me this person is a scammer. They do not end up on my grid until I have watched them myself. My spidey senses have to go off. So the whole world could be like, that's a scammer. Until I see it for myself, you don't end up on the grid. You end up on the radar. You may start off as a bolo, which is be on the lookout. There were some things that made me a little spicy, but I'm not ready to call him a scammer yet. And that was my interaction with Stella. Like, I know what people have said, but this is my first time here. So I don't make the assumption. But what I do is ask questions. And I feel like if you can ask people for money, then you should be able to answer questions. And what I love is when they'll be like, I've said all of this before. I don't want to repeat myself. Well, do you want money? If you want money from new people, if you want to not be labeled a scammer, then you answer every question. I don't care how many times it is. But, of course, she made assumptions about me. I didn't get a fair shake, so it's cool. So I happen in her live. Mind you, she barely gets 5 people. And I swear 50% of the people BS. But I ended up in her live, and it was just her and I. And I was on a burner. And she's literally complaining that people aren't helping. That in the Depression era, everybody helped everybody. If you had sugar, flour, water, salt, if the only thing you could do was make bread for your neighbors, that's what they did. That was a beautiful time for some people, not for others. So when you say you want to go back to the Depression, because that's when people helped each other, I'm good. You can have your Depression era. I'd rather be in this era. Thank you. It is nobody's fault that your house crapped out. It's nobody's fault that your car crapped out. And it is nobody else's responsibility to fix any of it. And the attitude that because people aren't helping you, it means that people are mean and nasty isn't an accurate statement. But I was on a burner, and I said, it's hard for everybody. Do you think that groceries being expensive for you aren't expensive for everybody else? Or gas? Or housing? And again, where are the people with a lot of wealth giving to beggars on TikTok? They're not. So the people you are talking to when you're asking for money are people just like you. We are fortunate that we have housing. We are fortunate that we can go to the grocery store. But I promise, I'm not buying groceries like I used to. I'm not eating out like we used to. Did you see where the CEO of Chipotle said that the people who actually eat at his restaurants make on average $100,000, so he's okay with raising prices? Why? Because people who don't have it like that aren't eating out. So for you to act like the people who are just like you, but just happen to be fortunate to have a little bit more than you, owe you something is crazy to me. So I say it's hard for everybody. She told me that I needed to shut up. That if I wasn't there to help her, then I needed to say nothing. I'm sorry. I'm not. Because I get distracted. I apologize. She told me to be quiet. She literally said, shut up. That she doesn't want to hear that. No problem, Heather. It's okay. I'm sorry, Cupcake. Who? Cece or Stella? Stella is in her car because her house is uninhabitable. Exactly, Shadow. Exactly. So if it's expensive for you, why isn't it expensive for the rest of us? And I'm sorry if because things are expensive for me, I can't help you. By the way, she has now added that you can pay her for tarot card readings. Did you do a YouTube lesson? Because if that's who you really are, you'd have did that months ago. Does she have cats? I know there's the hippie kitty mommy or something like that. I can't remember. But instead of doing something about her situation, she spends hours on TikTok complaining. She does have cats? Okay. And again, I understand them being your emotional support, but you are not giving the cats the lifestyle that is conducive to them. So you are being selfish. You are putting your own needs before the animals that you say you love. But I'm rude for telling you, why don't you get rid of the cats? And when I say get rid of them, I don't mean just throw them out the car. I mean rehome them. No, you're right. I have a picture of one of her cats, and it is literally sickly. You can't tell me that it's not. Let me see if I can get it real quick. That's one of the cats in her car. You can see he's missing hair. His eyes are barely open. Look at his ears. You do, Nicole Brown? Send me a DM. I'm going to write your name down. And Nicole Brown, if you have an Instagram, send me a message on Instagram. Because when it's a lot of information, I like to have a conversation and not try to go back and forth in DMs, if you don't mind. And my Instagram is Digital Deceiver Shadow. Okay, cool. Daniel, there are 423 other people in here. What are you going to shut down? You aren't on the grid, but I feel like you want to be. Probably because you saw an uptick in your numbers. Don't you have a job to go to? Did you get a heater for the garage? Somebody was nice enough to let you move in their garage, and what did you do? Start complaining about it. So then go do it. How you gonna come in here and tell people not to engage with me? Yes, that is gonna corn. Because his life is so unstable. I know he's trying to be relevant. He's trying to get new fans. Because he can't get 420 something people in his live in the middle of the night. Like, go kick rocks, Daniel. Nobody cares. Yeah, don't go back and forth with him. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for attention. Nobody cares. Yeah, I know. But Daniel, this is the funny part. You are defending people who are deplorable. You don't even know anything about the people I cover, and yet I'm standing on their necks. How do you think the people who have been taken advantage of by them feel? Because we only want to care about one side of this, and that's the person asking for money. How about the people who have given money and then been treated like dirt? We only see one side? You don't even know about the people I cover. He's a perpetual victim. Everything is everybody else's fault. And you know that's a huge red flag for me. When they don't accept any accountability for the bad decisions that they've made that has left them in the position they are in, I don't want to hear about it. So then why are you here? You're not on the grid. Why are you here? I haven't talked about you in days, weeks even, because I wasn't even here. Or did you think that because you said the things to me that when I went away that I was actually going away? Oh, girl. Tina, clock it. Wait until the end. I know, Granny. He's just here for attention. That's it. Because if he really hated what I did and what I stood for, he'd go over on his live and talk about it. But yet, he's here. Thank you for staying up. I appreciate it. Thank you for assisting the algorithm. Daniel, how many times are you going to say the same thing? And how is you being here fixing your situation? And Daniel, you talked about it. Did anything change? Did a single thing change? Be careful, Daniel. Be careful. Watch your mouth. Yeah, it is like JP. Stuck on stupid. Next. Let's talk Pretty Little Hobo. Now, she was new to me. And at one moment, she was going to be a bolo. But she's far from a bolo. She is the epitome of someone who tries to use her looks to get money out of people. One of the things that make me so disgusted with her is that she feels like you shouldn't just help her with housing. No, no, no. It is the housing that she wants, which is being in an Airbnb. And not just any Airbnb. A bolo is be on the lookout. I'm not ready to call them a scammer, but my spidey senses have gone off and I haven't watched enough to give them the label. So I call it a bolo. Y'all watch too. And just to be clear, one of the main reasons why I put their name and their in the center of the page is because I want you guys to go watch them for yourself and make your own conclusion. I'm just telling you what I saw and what I think. But you don't have to take my word for it. Go watch them yourself. See, if I just wanted what I said to stand, I would tell you, I wouldn't show you who they are. I wouldn't tell you to go watch them for yourself and make your own conclusion. I would just say, believe every word I say. Now, part of the reason why people believe me is because time and time again, what I say has been proven to be accurate. Because why? I talk about what they say and do on TikTok. Other people have watched exactly what I watched and can co-sign what I say. So this girl has been staying in an Airbnb for several months to the tune of $1,000 a week. A week. Because she claims that hotels and motels aren't safe because she's a single woman. Let's see. When I was traveling for work, my spouse wasn't with me. I was there by myself. I didn't even always travel with coworkers. If I was going to a conference, I'd be the only person there from my job. People right now go visit family, stay in a hotel, women, even women with children. You have 2 dogs. But staying in a hotel is too dangerous. Now, don't get me wrong. Some motels in some cities are sketchy as hell. They are used for ex-workers, addicts, you name it. But you can have a hotel that's not dangerous. People stay in them every single day. Every day. Now, do you have to take precautions? Yes. But you want to know what's crazy? If you go on TikTok right now, and look up how to be safe in a hotel, 1,000 videos will show up. There's a woman, I can't remember, she was in law enforcement in some way, shape, or form. And she goes into a hotel room and shows you exactly what you can do, what you can use that's already in the hotel room to have added protection. I purchased a door lock that even if someone is able, if they have a key and they can get the latch, they still can't open the door. I open the closet doors to make sure that this is not a false floor. She shows you how to detect if there's a camera in the room and what to cover up if you see it. I've made it to 52 being in hotel rooms all across this country and internationally. I've never had a problem. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I literally saw somebody show a hotel room where the closet door, when you opened it, and if you pulled up the floor, it was literally a tunnel. I saw a video recently where this woman went into a restaurant and wanted to use the bathroom, but something caught her eye that on the women's bathroom door, there was this contraption that turned out to be a lock that could be done remotely. And it was right next door to the exit door to the back. Do I think that was used for trafficking women? Yes. And she was smart enough and aware enough, and she called the police. And the police officer made them take it down in the moment and took a report. So is it unsafe? Yes. But are there things you can do to take it to be more safe for yourself? Absolutely. You saw it, Sherry? It doesn't require that you stay in an Airbnb. And let's call a spade a spade. Nancy Guthrie's mother, Nancy Guthrie, who is the mother of the NBC newscaster, Savannah Guthrie. Did you see her house? Her house could easily be an Airbnb. And somebody went in there and took her, and she's been gone for 9 days. She lives in a wealthy neighborhood where there's probably low crime. And she still got taken. So when you say to me, oh, well, I need to be in an Airbnb because it's safer, where? In fact, you're in a home and there's nobody looking. At least in a hotel, sketchy people come in and out. There's somebody at the desk. There's other people in other hotel rooms around you. She has decided that her looks and her attitude are deserving of elevation above other people and that other people need to pay for it. Yes, she was a stripper at one time. Could she go back to that? Maybe. But I don't think that that's a requirement. Get a job, any job. She had 2 months in an Airbnb and literally nothing changed. And then what she does when she needs more money is she crashes out. So somebody was in the chat saying, you're racist. And I was like, are you racist? Are you racist? She kept saying no. Now, you know me. I'm going to go in as digital and I'm going to ask 3 million questions. Because I'm trying to get down to the point of, is this a person who truly is in need, or is this somebody who's just taking advantage of the kindness of others? I don't assume. I ask questions. But when answering the question, is she racist? She said, no, I went to a cultural school. Now, she went to cosmetology school. What does being at a school with people of other cultures have anything to do with your beliefs? That's like somebody saying, I have a black friend. Or when Becky says, I have grandchildren who are colored. That means nothing to me. So a quick little search, and when I say quick, I mean quick. Like I was able to go do a little search and come back to her in the exact same live. That's how I didn't even have to do a deep dive. Well, when somebody had suggested to her in a live at one point, like, why don't you, be a waitress, clean up, like be a cleaner, like do anything that you could get a job right away to help yourself. She said, picture me being the help. I'm white. That would be whack. Excuse me? And then when people called her out on it, she was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What more can I say? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was not genuine. And that is exactly how she thinks. So when Daniel comes in here and he talks about how I'm standing on the necks of people, you damn right I'm standing on her neck. Because on top of everything else, she's a racist. She thinks that her whiteness is a privilege above other people. But then tried to do a throwaway line. I went to a cultural school. Most people in this country nowadays go to a school that has other cultures. Even in private school, there's somebody that's not white. Does that make them less racist? If those are the views they espouse? No. Do y'all remember the owner of the LA Clippers? He literally had people of color making him millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he was dating a girl of another culture behind his wife's back, by the way. He was still a racist. No, not Mark Cuban. It was long before Mark Cuban. I can't remember his name now. Echo. Who was the owner of the LA Clippers that was found to be racist? Ugly man, too.
Donald Sterling was the owner of the LA Clippers who made racist comments in 2014. He was banned from the NBA and forced to sell the team.
Thank you. Thank you. Be quiet. You don't have to say nothing else.
Got it.
So, Tony, go find that out on your own. We don't do that here. We call them out. Yeah, because he's always running his mouth extra. It was Donald Sterling. If you don't know the story, go look it up. He was cheating on his wife with an exotical, but he didn't want the exotical to be around any black players. And that's just one item. How you cheating on your wife but going to demand things of your side piece? Please go sit down somewhere. And the only reason why she was messing with him was because he was rich. When I tell you unattractive isn't the word for it, she claims she has one phone and one tablet. So on this particular night of her crash out, because she had to move out in the morning because people hadn't given her the $1,000 required to stay, she was crashing out. And this is what she does. Every time she doesn't have the money for a stay, she crashes out. Sheena like. Oh, let's not talk about the collar that she uses for the dog. It's one that has spikes on it, right? And she made the mistake that it was sitting next to her on the couch. And when people brought up the collar, she said she uses it for training purposes. So I asked the question, well, who paid for the collar? And she said, I've had it for years. So you mean in years you haven't trained your dogs enough that they require that collar? Do you see how they just be throwing stuff out, trying to answer a question that makes them look better, and you just step further into the mud? You haven't trained your dogs in years that they still require that collar? And like I said in her chat, the dog whisperer doesn't require that collar. And again, she's homeless with 2 dogs that she can't even take care of. I have been watching Mara. I'm just not ready to talk about her yet. Oh, I'm sure her dogs are unvaccinated. And she'll probably in one live say, I'm against vaccinations, and then the next live say, I don't have the money. In most communities, there are literally agencies that will pay for your animals to be vaccinated. Or they'll have a discount veterinary service where they don't do emergencies, but they will at least allow you to get them vaccinated so that they're healthy. In most communities. She's not in a little hick town, by the way. Then she brings up the fact that she got a ticket for being homeless. And I believe that there's something going on with her car as well. And that if she doesn't come up with the money, she's going to go to jail. Have you gotten a single job to be able to pay for it? She claims she's in a program for 6 months, but it's just a check-in thing. So why are you talking about it? If it's just to check in, why is that relevant to the conversation? She tries to use her mental health, but my question is, what are you doing about it? Just saying you have bipolar isn't the end of the sentence. Because what people have realized is that as we acknowledge and respect that mental health is an issue and it needs to be addressed, they think it's like the end. Like, that's the end of the sentence. I have bipolar. What are you doing about it? Some people don't believe in medication. I get it. I love my medication. Are you in therapy? Do you have a therapist? Do you have a psychiatrist? And what are you doing beyond that? I do a lot of study because I don't want it to rule my life. It is a condition. It is not all of who I am. And I am still valuable even though I have a diagnosis. But when people want to use it as a weapon against criticism, I don't accept that. I stand proud and strong with a diagnosis, but I don't let it define me. I don't let it make me incapable of taking care of myself. And I work at it every single day. Having a mental illness is not a period. It's a semicolon at best. if not just a comma. So when they're like, I have mental illness and blah, 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 you miss me. You miss me. And by the way, using Rizzy as an excuse, Rizzy wasn't unalived because of anti-scam or the greater awareness community. It was drama talk. So miss me with it. So this night that she's crashing out, she's like, even if I got the money, I couldn't stay here because it was already booked. So somebody asked her how much money she had. She had $400. That's easy to go get a hotel room. $400. And that wasn't enough? So this is what she did. Let me show you. With $400 in her account, she went outside and laid on the ground with her blankets. And she had the 2 dogs outside laying down on like beds, doggy beds. And within a matter of minutes, she had enough money to get another Airbnb. The parts that's crazy to me is she didn't have to be outside. She did it because she knew people would give her money. That's manipulation. And when you have to manipulate to get the money, you are on the scammer spectrum. And if nobody knows what I'm talking about when I say the scammer spectrum, it's pinned at the top of my page. Right. Welcome to the grid. And then, let me see if I have that photo. This is what she posted. She said, I received enough funds for a few days at a new place. When she says a new place, she means an Airbnb. And she said, I found an extra large Uber to guarantee my stuff and dogs would all fit so we could all safely make it to the next destination. Once he arrived and I told him I had dogs, he refused to take me where I needed to go. He canceled the Uber and I was still charged. That is a lie. If the Uber driver cancels the ride, you get your money back. More manipulation. She wants to say she was charged because then people would say, well, where's the rest of the money? Where did the money go? Correct, Blueberry Cheesecake. I'm going to get there. And so she said he canceled the Uber and I was still charged. I didn't have funds for another. Mind you, you mean to tell me you couldn't have came back and said I need more Uber money? Manipulation. I didn't have funds for another, so we walked 2 hours to the new place. My cart tipped over going down a hill on ice. I thankfully didn't break my finger. I feel incredibly blessed, but if you can't tell, it was a very long day. Thank you to everyone in support of me getting off the streets. God bless. First of all, leave God out of it. Leave God out of it. Yeah, break. You had time to do this though, but this was supposed to be like, this is why I'm not live. You know why? Because she doesn't need any money right now. They're all the same. If I don't need money, you don't get me. Yeah, and she'll be like, I'm just going to leave it in God's hands. So then why are you live if you're leaving it in God's hands? If God is going to take care of you, then let God take care of you. But no, what they mean is that God is going to move somebody's heart to send them the money. They're not actually relying on God. It's you. It's you. Yep, just like Tim and Angela. It's you. So she literally lays outside on the ground while she has $400 in her account because staying at a hotel is below her. She'd rather be outside on the ground. Why? Because she knows if she shows herself on the ground, she'll get money. The other thing she did that was deplorable in that Airbnb's house, she literally stood on their couch. And when people were like, what are you doing? She's like, my feet are clean. That has nothing to do with it. A couch isn't meant to be stood on. And if she had broke it, whoever might have did that Airbnb for her or whoever's card was the backup, they would have gotten charged. But you know what she made sure she do first? She made sure that she was barely dressed at first. And then she put a jacket on. So what did she do? She made sure she stood up and twirled for the audience so they could see her ass. Girl, if you twirling on TikTok, go twirl someone else and actually make some money. And then right, absolutely Christian. As soon as she got to the new place, she didn't go live, but she made sure to show us videos of how nice it was. But she did it under the idea of, in one place, she showed her finger. In another place, she showed emptying all of her groceries. Now, mind you, she has a mother that I believe is also on the app. Let me tell you about her. So she went to cosmetology school so she could get out of the stripping game. And when she was graduating, her mother and I believe stepfather had found a salon she could go and work at. But she was mad because she wanted to pick her own place. And I said this in her chat. Do you know how many people would love to have a hookup? Where as soon as they graduated, they had a place they could go and work and make money? Mind you, she didn't pass her cosmetology test. So yes, she graduated, but she's not licensed to do it. So you spent all that money and all that time and didn't pass the test? And hasn't taken it again. But her parents lined her up with a job. And instead of being appreciative, she was mad because her parents were trying to control her. They've helped her get multiple cars. But because she's so entitled, it has to be her way or no way. He said to her, he's a mechanic, her stepfather, I will help you with this car. You will not have to pay me labor, but you do have to buy the parts and you have to help me fix it. Again, do you know how many people would jump on that? But she's too good for it. You're the help. I'm too good to fix a car. But she still wanted it fixed and tried to, I think, sue them to get it. Because it was in her name. You fix it then. You pay for it to get fixed. If you weren't going to live up to your end of the bargain, why should you be able to get the car done for free? Because this is how she sees her life. She sees herself as getting pretty privileged. And that's supposed to extend to everybody. Girl, go find yourself a rich man that wants to take care of you. But the people on TikTok are not required. And if being on social media was so destructive, all you got to do is turn it off. That's it. Of course, her family gang stalked her. Yep. And then in one hand, she's saying that she had to be the adult when her mother was off being a wild child. But another time said that she was locked in her room until she was what, 12? 6 to 12? Which one was it? So I'm going to be doing a much deeper dive on her. But she fits literally damn near every red flag. No, she said she was locked in her room, not that she had to let herself in. Correct, Tina. So we're going to be doing a much deeper dive, but that's a quick search and watching a couple of lives and some videos. All right, Riveter, please send me a message. Let me write your name down. Okay, it's 8:30. Let's do the drama. For a moment, we'll be getting back to the scammers. Of course, Blueberry, if I see somebody that needs to be covered, I'm going to cover them, regardless. It's time to party. No, child, he's asleep. We are leaving him alone. So, an account called Awareness Tea popped up. And they had gripes about how some people conduct their lives. And that's their right. 110%. You are allowed to have your opinion. You're allowed to not like things that you see. Everything I see, I don't like. And I've spoken about some of the things that I've seen that I don't like. But the same way that no one can control my platform, I can't control anybody else's. And when somebody is close to me, as Fallon is, when I see something I don't like, I just go directly to her. And when she sees something, when I see something I don't like, I just go directly to her. And when she sees something she doesn't like, she comes directly to me. Because that's what being a friend is. We don't always have to see eye to eye. We don't always have to like what we see and how they do it. But I know at the end of the day, her goal is to protect people like mine is. I don't have to her goal is to protect people like mine is. I don't have to make a public statement that says specifically, I don't like this. The same way she doesn't have to publicly say, what about, even though we all know she doesn't like that I accept gifts and that I have subscriptions. She has made that abundantly clear. But what she also recognizes is that I'm not here for that. I would do it regardless. So that at the end of the day, our end game is still the same. I don't expect anybody to like it. It's not a requirement. But I find it hypocritical for people to criticize what I do when other people were making $1,000 a day and said nothing. I don't like hypocrisy. So Awareness T was upset, and they started making videos about the things that they were upset about. And again, having a critical eye is okay. Even expressing it is okay. But it clearly became personal at some point. And it was meant to cause division. Because it's easy to sit in a seat of criticism of others while at the same time doing nothing to make it the way you want. I literally could sit here every day and check every awareness, anti-scam streamer and talk about what parts of it I didn't like, what comments I didn't like. But how does that prevent a scammer from scamming? It doesn't. And so I watched the videos, almost all of them. I might be blocked now, but before I was blocked, and again, you know, blocking me is symbolic. It doesn't matter. If I want to see your videos, I'll see them. But I watched them, and I watched the hypocrisy. And what I didn't want was the community to give them any play. Because giving them play highlights their videos. I wanted the community to act like they didn't exist. Because unless you are moving the needle forward by what you do and say, you don't exist to me. I don't engage in the drama where I'm going to hold an entire live to discuss one person that for me was irrelevant. And not only did I tell Fallon that behind the scenes, when I heard that there was going to be a live to discuss her in particular, and I knew Fallon and Adam couldn't be there, I went. Because I was trying to suggest, we have new people. People who are trying to do the good work. People who are doing the good work. And I didn't want them to feel like every time there was criticism that they needed to go off target and address it. It's one account, one person with how many followers and how many following, making videos and criticism, but not highlighting the good. To me, they were a waste of time. And I said so in a live. I went in a live and I said I was trying to stop you because doing this is exactly what they want. So again, now we are focused on one individual's opinion instead of highlighting the scammers. And the people around me will tell you that that has been my thing from the beginning. When I used to watch crews fight, I would listen and I would get in the box and I would say, okay, you've had your say. Can we get back to what we are all here for? Because we started to turn into one live after another about the drama. Who was talking about the scammers? And again, by holding these lives over and over and over again, it becomes about us and not the mission. I don't want the people who are new to feel like one account requires an entire life, especially when it's not about you. So what? Somebody makes a video. So what? You stay focused. And that's what we do here. It's not that I don't address it. I'm not going to make it my entire life. I am not going to capture people to discuss one person. That is completely irrelevant to me. I want to guide the new people to focus on what's important. And that is bringing as much awareness to what they are doing as possible, and not one person and one account. And then I was told to get out of the box because I had my 10 seconds of fame. As if I need to be in somebody else's box to raise my voice. So I left. Because I knew that I could come to my live and say what it is I wanted to say. So why do I need to be there? And then somebody that I was watching named Homeless People Matter Too, or something like that. Homeless Matters Too, whatever. Aaron. I've been watching Aaron. And like I said, I don't just cover somebody because I saw them once. And the first time I watched him, he was working hard. And I said, as long as he's working hard, he may be homeless. He may be even getting assistance. But I felt like I saw him trying. I'm not going to cover him. But he's on my radar. And what Aaron wants is for awareness, and in my case, anti-scam, to leave him alone for a minute so that he can continue to get money from people on TikTok. Not that he actually wants to get his life together. He just wants the heat off. Because what he recognized is that the more we talked about him, the harder it was for him to get money. He talks about he can't get side jobs. What person who needs their yard raked or is looking on TikTok to see if you have a TikTok persona? Nobody. It's just an excuse. And it's an excuse because he doesn't really want to do side work. He wants the people on TikTok to give him the money for no effort. That's what he wants. And as long as you are doing what you're doing, I'm going to do what I'm doing. You want me to stop? You stop. But I hadn't even covered him yet at that point. But other people were. So Aaron, and I'm not sure who reached out to who, but Aaron either reached out to Awareness Tea or Awareness Tea reached out to him. And see, in your anger about several people, you've allowed yourself to become a depository for everybody else that doesn't like them. I assumed that it was someone that was very well versed in the community. I found out later they were not. But now you become a depository for scammers, because what they want you to do is to call us out so that they don't have to. And that's what you became. You became their advocate in the name of wanting to stop bullying. While these very people bully their audience, bully their mobs, you wanted to stand on anti-bullying while supporting people who bully. So the claim was that Aaron reached out to her thinking, because of what her page stood for, that she could intervene and get the community to leave him alone. And then he wrapped it in his mental health. So it went from being concerned about bullying to being concerned about his mental health. Is he concerned about his mental health? Because if you are, what are you doing about it? And if you're concerned about somebody's mental health, have you educated yourself in how to help somebody in their mental health? Because that's the easy answer. Call 988. It's national, it's free, and it's 24 hours a day. Anybody to say that they're using social media to deal with their mental health has already missed me. Why? Because there's been report after report after report that social media actually degrades your mental health if you're not careful. So to say that you need TikTok for your mental health is a bald-faced lie. It is a bald-faced lie. What you want is the attention and the money. That's what you crave without criticism. But I'm sorry, there are those of us that look through a critical eye. We use our own discernment. I don't turn my discernment off because I like you. It is just a part of my personality. So Aaron goes live, and I'm going to talk about him in particular in a minute. And he has a conversation with All For One, because Awareness T reached out to All For One because she said she was so concerned about him and his mental health. And All For One was supposed to assist him. And All For One did the work. And anybody that was in the live last night knows that it had an impact on All For One that I've never seen before. Because he did the work. He did the legwork. He did the thing that people say awareness doesn't do. And he found him a place to go. A place where he could get food. But see, Aaron didn't want that. Aaron didn't want a warm place to be and a meal. He wanted what he wanted, which was cash. Now, you got to understand, when I came into Aaron's live, he's sitting on the ground, nearly having a fit that he almost unalived because he slipped in front of a car. And he was so concerned that if a child had been in that car and the car had an accident, he would feel so guilty. And he's in a town. I might as well talk about him. He's in a town where there's only a gas station, and he's sitting on the ground because he can't move any longer. What I didn't realize initially was the building he was sitting in front of was a hotel restaurant. So it had more than a gas station. But back to Awareness T. So while All For One is talking to Aaron, fuck it is in the box, and I eventually get in the box. Because, as always, I have questions. And we talked to him. And at one point, it went from, we can help you, to questions about, wait a minute. And one of my biggest ones was, you get a Social Security check? And you didn't even plan past the ferry? I'll get into him. But what disappointed me was that after he dropped from All For One's box, when he didn't get what he wanted, which was somebody that could tell everybody in the anti-scam community to leave him alone for a week. Because none of us can do that. He dropped. And he dropped also because the questions and the points we were making made him look like the person that he really is. And to be clear, he didn't get a dime at that point. He was still sitting outside with no money. Why? Because the questions and the points we were making made it clear there was somewhere he could go, thank you, and that he's been playing y'all all this time. He didn't get a dime. And then Awareness T went into his live, got in a box, and coddled him. And one of the things she said was, I wasn't there for the whole thing, but the part that I listened to, I didn't like parts of it. And I'll tell you later, I questioned her on that. And I don't know if All For One has put up that live, but if he hasn't, I hope somebody does. Because I want you to hear the entire conversation with him and with her. And I'm sitting in the audience like, what did we do wrong to him? And at one point, she says to him, I'm really concerned about what you sent me. Because, of course, to malinger, to make himself seem so bad, he told her that he was thinking about taking his life. And when she brought it up, he turned on her on a dime and was like, no, you don't need to worry about that. Because it was never a thing. It was just something he said to heighten the need for him to be left alone. He even said that he knows for a fact that people have unalived themselves because of the community. And I immediately asked, name someone. Since you knew, oh, you want to pick? Okay, I'm sorry. This is Aaron. Homeless lives matter too. He said for sure that he knew someone who had unalived themselves because of the anti-scam community. If you can't name someone, you better never say those words again. Because if he's trying to use Rizzy, mind you, a woman they've never seen before, didn't know her name, never been in a live with her, don't even understand what happened in the circumstance. Now you want to use her? But it wasn't this community that did it. It was Drama Talk, which is one reason why I want us to stay out of drama and stay focused on what we do. And no sooner did she coddle him, he had the money for a hotel room and something to eat. Turned on a dime. So then she comes and has a conversation with All For One. And somebody sent me the live. I wasn't even there in the beginning. And I go in because I want to hear. Now you're getting in boxes for someone who wanted to remain anonymous. Now you're in boxes having conversations. And she wants to explain herself. And as always, Digital has questions. And all my questions have a point. Sometimes I lead you down the road and sometimes I just ask you straight up. And because I had watched her her videos, one video in particular said that she thought she needed to do better, like she had learned, and that she was taking accountability for the things she had done wrong. Well, it's not real accountability when we don't know what you're taking accountability for. I could say I take accountability for everything I've ever done. What does that mean? I took accountability for spilling coffee this morning. If I just say I take accountability, what does that mean? And you know what her answer was? I don't want to say what it is because then people will know who I am. Then you don't have the right to hold anybody else accountable. If you're more worried about maintaining your anonymity than acknowledging the parts that you played in a community that might have hurt others, you have no right to hold anybody else accountable for anything. And I did all of my questions so that the community could understand. Yes, it is okay to have a critical eye, but you can't be a hypocrite doing it. And then she tried to throw in there, well, after I got threatened and after my dogs got poisoned, I'm concerned about keeping my anonymity. So then why are you in a box? Excellent scam opera. Thank you. I love it when it works. She's concerned. So I also asked her, I said, you went over there and told him that there were things in our conversation you didn't like. What were they? She felt we could be more compassionate. In what way? Well, she doesn't understand why we're asking questions about his Social Security. Let me show you. Let me do a little lesson. For people who aren't aware, because he's lying to his audience. There's a difference between somebody getting SSI and SSDI. Okay? This says, yes, individuals who receive supplemental security income, SSI, generally must report gifted money, including money received through platforms like TikTok. See, SSI is a needs-based program. They're based on financial need, which includes income and assets. Gifts can count as income, and they can impact your Social Security benefits, including money through platforms like TikTok, and it can reduce your benefits. Typically, the Social Security Administration typically counts cash gifts received in a month as unearned income. Oh, it's my understanding that Maggie's check has now been adjusted for the money she's earned. Important notes. Reporting is required. You must report gifts, including those from social media platforms, to SSA. It is not just at the end of the year when you file your taxes, because literally on a month-to-month basis, Social Security determines what you earn from your next check based on what you've gotten the previous month. And you want to know how we know that he's facing that? Because when he was talking to us about how his Social Security check was reduced by, I think he said $124 for 3 months, was because of an overpayment. Now, there is a small gift exclusion. Well, there is a small monthly exclusion. It is not based on an entire year of unearned income, so gifts below a certain threshold might not affect benefits. You cannot have assets over $2,000. And the best thing to do is to contact the Social Security Administration office, which of course he claims he did. But if he did, he would know the rules. For someone on SSDI, gifts do not count as income and do not affect your benefits. For SSI, gifts can affect your SSI because SSI is a needs-based program. Cash gifts or anything that can be used to pay for food or shelter will count as income and may reduce your benefit amount. So when you use those gifts to feed yourself and house yourself, they count. Non-cash gifts like clothing and personal items that don't cover food or shelter usually don't count. So when you're questioning why we're questioning his Social Security income, this is why. Because he's lying and manipulating his people. That's why. But see, if you don't know, I know that. I'm going to get there. Just call me B. I'm not done. When you don't know what you don't know, Awareness T, you don't understand why we ask the questions we ask. So how dare you sit in a room and tell people that you don't like that it was that we were asking about his Social Security when you don't know why we asked it? Again, it is easy to sit on the sidelines and criticize what people are doing. But when you don't understand, please sit down and shut up. Please sit down and shut up. As I told her, you don't know what you don't know. But you are so busy wanting to sit in a space of criticizing the community that you're making a fool out of yourself. Money laundering or money mules. A money mule is when a person, the money mule, transfers or moves illegally acquired funds on behalf of someone else, usually criminals seeking to hide the origins of their money. The mule may receive money through their account and then forward it to another account, often receiving a small commission or believing they are helping a friend, employer, or romantic interest. See, he thinks that by having people send money to his mod and then his mod sending him the money in one lump sum shields himself. It doesn't. And it could be putting you, the money mule, at risk. Oh, I downloaded that twice. By the way, participating as a money mule is illegal. And it's regardless of whether you know it's a crime or not. Not knowing is not a defense. That's not how the law works in the United States. You can't just say, oh, I didn't know that was illegal. You can still be charged. Correct. And pay taxes on the money. So Awareness T, please be quiet. Because A, you're a hypocrite. B, you don't know what you don't know. And third, let the professionals do it. Let the people who actually know how all of these things work, the people who have actually done the research, the people who have actually helped people, do what they do. Because like I said, initially I thought it was someone who had been long-standing in the community. Based on the conversation we had where she was with All for One, she don't know shit. She didn't even know what 988 was, but she's going to be concerned about people's mental health. And again, miss me. I am a diagnosed medication taking, mental health person. So don't tell me that I'm not concerned. Don't tell me that I don't have compassion. Ask anybody in here that I have compassion for how they feel. But then don't turn around and tell me I need to have over compassion for the scammer, but not the people they're taking advantage of. And when I asked her, well, you want us to have compassion for him, what about the people being taken advantage of? She wanted to say it's not an either or. Yes, it is to me. You know why? Because the people sending their money are being manipulated and lied to. I'm concerned about them more than I'm concerned about the scammer. There are thousands of people on this app that get money. There was a woman who was like, I know that if everybody got together, you could make me debt free. And the people on TikTok made her debt free. Did I cover her? No. Do I cover the thousands of battlers on here that are literally making millions? No. Because it's not about the act of getting money from this act. It is the act of lying, white lying, begging, dry begging, manipulating, and outright scamming that I have a problem with. It's when the people do things on the spectrum of scamming that rises my ire. And as I said to her, you want us to be worried about the scammer and their needs. Do you know how many people have come to us and said, thank you? I almost gave money, or I gave money. And then I heard a story that actually broke my heart. That a woman needed to fake her own unaliving because she couldn't figure out how else to stop giving this person money. But I'm supposed to worry about the scammer and his mental health. And I asked her, well, why can't you be balanced? You say it's not an either or. So what part of your account is going to be bringing awareness to what these people are doing wrong while you tear down the community? Well, that's not what she's here for. And then it became very clear that this was all personal. So this wasn't about making the community better. This was about having an agenda against a few people. And then she said, well, this is how she feels. Oh, so this isn't about right or wrong anymore. This is about how you feel. Well, have your feelings. But then you can't tell somebody else how they should feel. This isn't about right or wrong. This is about I don't like somebody. And what she did was because there were other people that didn't like them, she had a community baked in. What she didn't realize was that she would be used to, what's the word I'm looking for? She would be used as their vessel for get back. And she let them do it to her. And now you're out here looking crazy and everybody else is hidden. Everybody else who fed you that information is hidden. He told you that somebody told him we have PIs and lawyers. We are not a monolith. We do not work for somebody, and therefore that somebody has PIs and lawyers for us. What I say all the time is that a curious woman is better than the FBI and the CIA put together. Why do we need PIs? I don't talk about stuff that's either not public record or doesn't happen on social media. So what do I need a PI for? And lawyer for what? I don't break the law. The scammers always seem to have a lawyer, though. They're always threatening us with legal action. Well, please tell me what law I have violated. But to then make a video and put that up there that you got from a scammer is mind-boggling. And I said to her, you know why I think he went to you? Because he knew you would make a video without vetting a damn thing. He knew by crying about his mental health, you would jump without knowing anything about him. And do you think people don't know your voice? People know exactly who you are. I don't, because I don't care to know. After this, you will be 100% irrelevant to me. And if you want to make videos about me, you won't be the first and you probably won't be the last. But I can promise you it'll change nothing about this live. Nothing. Now let's talk Aaron. This is Aaron. And his TikTok name is Homeless Lives Matter Too. Oh, I know he's going to the news because of his friend knows how to make things go viral. And this is what I say, please do. Because if it's an actual news journalist, he's going to want our side. I'm waiting for the phone call with bated breath. So Aaron left, I believe it was Minnesota, to go chase some woman in Alaska. And it didn't work out. I'm not surprised because I don't know very many women that actually want a lazy, near-to-do nobody. And Alaska is one of the most expensive places to live in the country. And it's cold. And I'm not talking like regular winter cold. Their winter is more of their year than anything else. It is a hard place to live. Well, he got himself in Alaska. I don't know how he got there. I don't know if people on TikTok paid for him to get there or not. I don't know. But because he hadn't established himself in any way, shape, or form in Alaska, he ended up homeless. And again, when I was alerted to him, he was doing side work. But he was also asking his audience for money on a daily basis. And again, I didn't know he was getting a Social Security check. His Social Security check, because he's on SSI, and I know that because of the amount he gets. That means, hear me now, that means that in his entire life, he has not worked a job to get the required credits to qualify for SSDI. Okay? Let me say it again. He has not worked the required credits to qualify for SSDI. And he's a relatively young man. So what does that tell you? Just off of that alone. But okay, let's keep moving. After struggling this winter in Alaska, he makes the decision that he wants to go back to Minnesota. If I'm not mistaken, this is the coldest time of the year in the entire country. Who decides to leave Alaska in the dead of winter by walking? Who Who would make that decision? Nobody. Nobody with any sense, unless you know that you can get people to pay your way. And so one of my initial problems with him is that he continues to make stupid decisions, expecting other people to fund the bad decision. Oh, I went to Alaska for a relationship and it didn't work out, and I want to go home. Please help me pay for my way back. You went there without enough funding, and now you're going to leave without enough funding? In the dead of winter and walk with all of your things? Okay. Now, one of the things that I saw was that he worked for this woman and he did a lot of shoveling. And he was mad that she only gave him $100. And one of the things he said to me was that he talked to her about it and that she agreed to send him another $400. So when he left on the ferry, the day he left to leave Alaska, she promised to send it that day and she didn't. And he said, I'm not in Alaska anymore and I didn't sign a contract, so there's nothing I could do. And while the women around him and Awareness T might not be quick enough, I am. And so I said, do you have a contract for where you're going? Because you've told everybody you have a place to live and a job waiting for you if you can get there by Tuesday. Today is Monday, by the way. And we know where he is because Dummy is so interested in showing his sad life that he gave himself away. Again, I'm not going to say it, but you did it to yourself. So, do you have a contract? Because clearly you just got beat out of $400 that you claimed you were relying on to help you with your travel so that you weren't going to need money from the people in your chat, right? So, do you have an offer letter? Oh, it's somewhere in my email. I said then post it. And of course, Awareness T went over there after I said that and said, make sure that you redact because people are going to call your job. Do you really think there is one? And like I said to him and her, do you know how many times we've heard that story? So forgive me for being skeptical. Do you know how many thousands of dollars have been given to people on this app because they said, if you just get me there, I'll be good? And then when they get there, they're not good. They didn't actually have the job. It was somebody playing them. It was a scam. How many times has the scammer gotten scammed on somebody else's money? So forgive me for being skeptical. And then I said to him, you know what? I haven't given you a dime. So you don't even owe me the receipt. But the people giving you money deserve the receipt. They deserve proof to know that you have a place to live and you have a job. They deserve that. What do you mean you don't have to explain yourself to anybody? You couldn't get money from a bank without explaining. For people who can borrow money on their Cash App, don't you have to agree to terms? So where else can you get money without having to answer questions and provide proof of what you're going to do? But again, before Awareness T went in there and coddled his ass, he hadn't gotten a dime because it was making people think. But no, and let me show you. Let me just show you. For someone so tired that he could barely keep his eyes open, when he got in the hotel, what did he do? He went live and had a great conversation. Oh, he was all good then. Where was his mental health then? And if you are so tired because you've been up for 48 hours, why are you live? Huh? See, I say it all the time. Blocking me is symbolic. I'm still going to see it. And then he had a nerve to threaten somebody that's made videos about him. Awareness T, where was your compassion for Skittles? Mind you, lied about her and said that her daughter stole his phone. He doesn't even know who Skittles is. And then later on said, oh no, that's not her. I'm sorry, she sounded like her. Doesn't that sound like what Tim and Angela did to me when they said that I was the one that called their hotel room and threatened them? And then when I confronted him, oh well, no, it wasn't you. It's I thought it sounded, but now that I hear you, it doesn't sound like you. And then when I was like, well, can you show us the letter of separation? Because most companies don't give you a reason. Shout out to my HR history. And then he dropped me. Why? Because he didn't want his people to hear me. Because I knew he was lying. And then went back to, well, it could have been her. What? It could have been me? After you told everybody it definitely wasn't me? But again, where is the compassion for the people on the other side? Miss, it doesn't have to be either or. When someone unalives someone, is your compassion for the unaliver? They exist. Repin what? You blocked me. Aaron, I love that you're in here. You blocked me. You said specifically, and Digital, you could just go. And you blocked me. Guess why I don't show my face? Because it's not about me. I've been saying that for over a year now. And you're the scammer. Don't mute him. Don't mute him. Tell me what I've said that has been wrong. Tell me anything I've said that hasn't been accurate. You're on the scammer spectrum. You want to know how? Because yesterday, let me just use yesterday. So after you got the money for the hotel, mind you, you claim that you walked 100 miles with no proof. Homeless Lives Matter. You might think I haven't listened to the whole story. I've been watching you longer than you think. I just haven't talked about you yet. So let's use yesterday as an example. Because one of the things you like to say is, it's not my fault that my community wants to help me. Let me tell you where that's a lie. for 3 reasons. A, they wouldn't be offering you money if they didn't know the circumstances. B, they wouldn't be able to offer you money if they didn't know the amount you needed. And third, they couldn't help you if they didn't know what payment app to send it to. So you can miss me with they offer it to me. Do you think that you're showing us something we haven't seen before? Detroit Nike beat you on that, baby. We got to watch him be homeless for 2 years. So you're not showing us anything. When I drive down the street and I see a homeless person, I see their life. You're not teaching us anything other than you want other people to take care of you. But let me stay focused, because if people didn't know how to send you the money, what you needed the money for, and how much you needed, you wouldn't get a dime. You wouldn't get a dime. So let's talk about yesterday. So you get to a place, you get to a grocery store. Mind you, you doxed yourself. Just so you're aware. You doxed yourself. And you walked around that grocery store for what? Over an hour for 4 items? And you kept showing people how expensive things were in the grocery store. Do we not go to the grocery store? Do we not know how expensive things are? And if you recognize how expensive things are, then why are you asking people who have to take care of their own families, their own lives, to send you money? I'm glad you're here, because let's go back to, God. There's a scripture, and I thought I had it, but I don't, that says that who builds a house without counting the cost? Who jealous? Who is jealous of a homeless person? Like, are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? He went to Alaska for a woman. Who is jealous of a homeless person? So, the Bible, since you like to use God, says, who builds a house without counting the cost to make sure he can pay for it? I'll get you the scripture on Wednesday. Or somebody can look it up. If Miss Coffee is here, I know she can find it. Oh, she was a narcissist and kicked him out, of course. So you go to Alaska and decide during the worst time of the year for the entire country that you're going to leave Alaska and walk to Minnesota in the middle of winter, literally the worst 2 months of the year. Oh, thank you, Sherry. There you go. Clock it. Since you read the Bible, look up Luke 14:28-30. Thank you very much. So forget about that being bad decision number 3,025,000. Let's just start with that bad decision. Second bad decision. You did not plan a route. Because if you had planned a route that was adequate, you would have made sure that you didn't end up in a podunk town. If you were in a car and the person was saying, I'm going to podunk town, well, you know what? Leave me here where there are resources. Because I don't want to end up in a podunk town with nothing. Because I don't want the people who love and care about me to have to spend money. But no, because you could convince people to give you money. You didn't care. And then I found out that you got Social Security. And that even though you had plans to leave Alaska in the middle of winter and walk to Minnesota by Tuesday for a job you haven't proven to anyone you have, in the middle of winter, 1,200 miles, you took your Social Security check and got a hotel room for 2 nights at $250 a night, and then took yourself out for a nice meal. Because he spent the money. 3 days, you blew through that check. And you want to say, well, you made a mistake. You didn't realize it was 2 nights. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? That's not the people in your chat's fault. You blew through it. That's not our problem. And again, if I don't know how much you need, what you need it for, and how to send you the money, I can't give it to you without you asking. So then you get on the ferry because you were promised $400 and then you didn't get it. Why would you leave? You said, oh, well, I already had a ticket. Okay. After knowing that you had already blown through your Social Security check, you still left. You still left without actually having a plan. What's that they usually say, your failure to plan is not an emergency for me? You're not 18, 19, or 20 years old. And then you said, well, I thought I could walk, but I didn't realize that my body wasn't what it used to be. Whose fault is that? Because you could have taken the time in Alaska to get your body in shape for the walk, but you didn't do that. Why? Because you knew that you could rely on people on social media to, again, what? Pay your way. So then you go to this grocery store, you walk around it forever, and even the lady in the grocery store was nice and was trying to give you direction. But it didn't suit your needs. You wanted another hotel room. And wait, let's not forget that All for One went through the entire process of finding you a safe place to go. And without your own inquiry, without you actually going there and finding out for yourself, you took the word of a couple of random people to say, well, I don't think that's safe. So y'all send me money so I can stay where I want to stay. Correct. And bashed him. And said nobody helped you because the only help you wanted was us to stay off of you, to stop telling the truth about you. That's all you wanted. You didn't want actual help for being homeless. You know you have mental health issues. You know that's what you're getting Social Security for. Then you know how to avail yourself of the resources when your mental health is bad. Do not weaponize mental health, because there are those of us who actually have it, who actually work hard and not allowing it to mess with our life. Don't do it. Yes, he gets SSI. And by the way, while you weren't here, I just proved that you are supposed to report it every month, not just at tax time. Because if you are using the cash for food and housing, you have to report it. So stop lying to the people in your chat. It is a needs-based program. And would you like to tell the people in your chat why you haven't worked enough credits to qualify for SSDI? Why don't you explain that to your chat? Why haven't you in your life worked enough credits to qualify for Social Security Disability? SSDI. Huh? Explain it. You got hit by a vehicle on a bicycle. If you can walk from Alaska to Minnesota, what's the disability exactly? He's not going to box up with me because I will dog walk him. Don't even suggest it. How? How can you walk from Alaska to Minnesota? Maybe the Social Security Administration would like to know that. Huh? Since you don't feel like you need to report your income and it is a crime not to do so, maybe Social Security would like to know that you've walked from Alaska to Minnesota on other people's money. See, when you use the money that you're gifted for housing and food, it is required that you let them know in the month that it took place. Aaron. If it is, let me pull it back up. Since Aaron, Aaron is smarter than everybody else. Nobody knows anything more than Aaron. Let's see, is this it? Yes, individuals who receive SSI generally must report gifted money, including money received through platforms like TikTok. It is a needs-based program, and the payment amounts are based on financial need, which includes income and assets. Gifts can count as income. For SSI purposes, most cash gifts are considered income. Receiving gifts, including money, through platforms like TikTok can reduce SSI benefits or potentially affect eligibility. SSA typically counts cash gifts received in a month as unearned income. So whoever at SSA told you that that's not true misled you, if you even had a conversation. Let's see. There is a small gift exclusion, so that if gifts are below a certain threshold, it might not affect benefits. You see the word might? But reporting is required because it's not up to you to decide if it counts. Social Security decides if it counts. Let's see. For SSDI, gifts do not count as income and do not affect your benefits. Look at this right here. Cash gifts or anything that can be used to pay for food or shelter will count as income and may reduce your benefit amount. Isn't that interesting? If it's used to pay for food or shelter. Didn't you just use $100 for a hotel room? And I don't care if it came from 30 people until you got the $100. It counts. Because it was used for food or shelter. See, you might want to use one part of it to say, well, it is all small dollar amounts, so they don't qualify. But if it's used for food or shelter, it will count as income. Aaron. See, Aaron likes to think he's the smartest person in the room, as if there are those of us who aren't either equally or more educated than himself. And so he blurts out stuff. Oh, I got another one. Wait a minute. I'm so glad you're here. Let me find it. Yesterday in Aaron's live, he said, what did he say? Oh, that it's against TikTok community guidelines for a person to use a second device to stream another person's live. And I said, well, asking people directly for money on TikTok is against community guidelines as well, honestly. And he said, no, he did. No, it's not. And Star did too. Well, let me read it to you. Yes, actively asking for money, donations, or tips to be sent directly to external payment apps like CA, Vimo, and PP in TikTok videos or live streams is generally prohibited because it violates policies against exploitative begging and fraud prevention. You are allowed to use TikTok's monetization features to get money, although Social Security still wants to know about it on a monthly basis, Aaron. TikTok may restrict, shadow ban, or remove content that engages in that behavior. Directing viewers to send money via external non-TikTok methods is considered a violation of community guidelines. Aaron, make sure you tell Star that too. And again, why would I be jealous? I have a place to lay my head. I have food in the refrigerator. What is there to be jealous of? I know, right? Ron. Ron. Since you're the smartest person in the room, promise you you're not smarter than me. I promise you you're not smarter than me. Because you haven't gotten in life where I have. And I don't mean that financially. I mean, I've lived longer than you. I've had more experience in life than you. So when you come in here and you tell people a bunch of BS, I can see through it. Oh yes, just so that you're aware, since you think you're getting over, money mules and money laundering are against the law. If you think that you're able to bypass all of these things by having the money sent to somebody else and then having them funnel it to you, they're being a money mule. And that's against the law. And if you think that doing it that way also gets rid of the SSI requirements, you're wrong. I didn't even see what Larry said, so I trust you. So, Aaron, go talk to somebody that's not bright because you've come to the wrong live if you think that you can come in here, A, intimidate, B, outtalk me, C, be smarter than me. You've come to the wrong place. And to suggest that I'm jealous that you're getting money from people by manipulating them. Oh, let's talk about last night. Let's put Aaron's photo back up here because he wants all the shine. Let's give it to him. So last night, while he's sitting at the grocery store charging his phone, Aaron starts to talk about how now that he's in the States, he has a friend that works for a hotel chain, and that if he gets the app and the friend adds him to like the friends and family, he can get rooms at a discounted rate at really nice hotels. Okay, you telling us that story? Great. And then Aaron says, guess what, guys? I was able to get a hotel room for $90 at a really, really, really nice hotel. Really nice. Can you believe it? Let me find it. Oh, dang. I didn't make it smaller. And no sooner did Aaron say it would only cost $90, his new mod, Army veteran, said, can we all get together and send him $90 for a hotel room? Again, if people didn't know what it was for, if people didn't know the amount, and if people didn't know where to send the money, then you wouldn't be getting it. So don't tell me you're not asking for it. You got people borrowing money to give you money, so you're actually putting other people in debt so that you can go on this pilgrimage that you didn't plan for. But I'm the wrong one. I'm lacking compassion. You are literally putting other people in debt because of your bad decisions. But I'm the one that lacks compassion. Where is your compassion for the people who support you? Until he can show people that he actually has a job, I don't believe jack diddly squat he has to say. And like I said, he wouldn't dare box up with me because I'm quicker than he is. How he always has an excuse for anything. I see bullshit like it's clear glass. Oh no, there's no bullying. And when people are like, kindness is free, so is the truth. And unfortunately, sometimes the truth hurts. It's still the truth. Truth actually comes with the element of compassion. The lie is the one that has no compassion. Because the truth sets everything out clear on the table. For you to tell Awareness T that you were going to unalive yourself? Where's the compassion in that? To have another person who barely knows you, who doesn't know you at all, that you're going to unalive yourself because of some videos on social media, when we all know you had no intent. Where's the compassion in that? See, y'all want to throw out buzzwords like bullying and lacking compassion and taking advantage of homeless people and standing on their necks. Where's the compassion when you're lying, manipulating, dry begging, and scamming people? And by the way, Aaron, if you go to my page, you'll see the spectrum of scamming. Any of his people? And for those who want to use God, the scriptures say, if you don't work, you don't eat. That's God's law. If you want to be blessed by God, you have to do things God's way. Lying and manipulating isn't God's way. God stands in truth. The Bible is a double-edged sword. It will protect you and cut you when you're doing something wrong. Do not try to bring God in here, because I will bury you with what I know. See, Jesus said that the entire world is under the power of the devil. Because we are imperfect, our father, in air quotes, is the devil. We actually have to choose God, because our imperfect nature causes us to sin every single day. And there's a scripture that says sin equals death. Leave God out of here when it comes to me. I will bury you with what I know. And what I can't do, the chat does. See, the beautiful thing about our community is that while I may be the one up here speaking, everybody in the chat are the ones that do all of the work. They're the ones making videos. They're the ones streaming you. I just watch you, and then I regurgitate what you do so that people understand that all of your yapping means nothing. And let's be clear, he had to probably unblock me to come in here. Thank you, Kayla. You had to unblock me to come in here. And I don't understand what you thought you and your little cronies were going to come in here and do by calling me jealous. I want somebody to explain to me what in Aaron's life I would be jealous of. I'll wait. Thank you, Christy. The cronies. Not the ponies, the cronies. I'm waiting for the person who said that I was jelly to answer that question. Because they all say that. Oh, you talk about them because you're jealous that nobody is sending you money. He's live throwing all his stuff out of Well, he crashed out last night. It was hilarious to watch him crash out and end the live. What are you crashing out for? Because I told the truth? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This has nothing, this has nothing to do with Aaron, but I just want to say I appreciate what you do 3 days a week for us. bringing these
Thank you.
scammers to light. I 100% appreciate you. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that,
Well, I do
Melanie.
have one question. Like,
Sure.
if I give my 2 weeks notice at my job today and I become a beggar, can I get on your grid, please?
You can climb on. You
I
can
went to Center
climb
Square.
on.
That I went to Center Square.
Okay, I'll make sure you get to center square.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I trust me. I ain't
Oh, I
coming on here
know.
to beg,
I
but
know, honey.
I 100% appreciate what you, TikTok president, all for one, bringing these scammers. I mean, and what makes me more mad are the enablers. Like
Oh, yeah.
like that makes me more mad because the beggars are just going to keep on coming back and beg because they know they can get it.
They have created the monster they now have to live with.
I'm sorry,
And what
I
I
won't give these.
love is how they want the person to get money, but they want other people to do it. If you want him to have the money, you do it. Why do you need to encourage anybody else in the chat? You do it. You take your money and you do it. Why don't you go to the military and get an entire loan so that he can go all the way back home, get housing, and get a job? You use your military connections to make that happen for him. Army veteran. Like, get out of here. And wait, you borrowed money for a man that doesn't even have enough credits to get SSDI when you know your fellow members of the military are homeless. Have you borrowed $150 for your local homeless veteran? Army veteran? Go sit down. I'm sorry. Thank
But
you,
no,
Melanie.
once again, I appreciate you doing this. When you do, I appreciate you
Thank you.
100%. That's all I wanted to say. But I do have one favor. I don't know how to drop, so can you drop me?
Absolutely. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming up.
Oh, you're welcome.
Out of his first check when we don't even have proof. Listen, if Aaron gets there and gets a job, oh, I'm not apologizing. What will I? I'll report it. I will 100% say, guess what, guys? He was right. He had a place to live and a job. But I thought he had to be there by Tuesday. Who gonna pay for him to get all the way there? Because he did tell them how much he needed for a bus ticket last night. So did they give him the money for the bus ticket? Oh, I know he gets SSI. He said he got SSI and that he deserved a good meal. You deserved it? You deserved a $50 meal when you were getting ready to travel 1,200 miles? How about you gave yourself, hold on, let's see. Nope, not that I saw, but yes, he got 275. I have screenshots. Okay. So, I could see if when you got to Minnesota that you gave yourself a good meal because of that travel. And yes, you don't get it both ways. You don't get to say I have a TBI, but I know more than everybody. None of us know everything. And we don't know what we don't know. Awareness T. Oh, thank you, Tina. See what I mean? See, Tina is who I'm talking about. Tina is who I'm here for, not the scammer. Sorry. Exactly, Sherry. People who actually have to pay for their food are like, we want to eat out. We going to the dollar menu at McDonald's. You know what I mean? And that's like Cake wanting a seafood boil in the middle of the week. You're getting money for a seafood boil that the people in the chat probably haven't had in months, but you just want it on a random Wednesday. It's ridiculous. that's why I said it's a special occasion, Lisa Marie. In this economy, where even jobs are becoming hard to find, be for real. But we'll see if Aaron actually. And then it was like, she was like, well, can you teach him how to dock? I thought he knew how to do everything. And no, I don't advise that anybody call any job on anybody. The whole point is we want them to work and take care of themselves. And let's address his criminal past, which I haven't even looked into. I know other people have, I haven't. Because it's not about the specific past. When you committed your crime, you were an adult. You were charged as an adult, convicted as an adult. Now, young adults in their 20s are not the same person that they are in their 30s, 40s, or 50s. But when you go to apply for a job or housing or school, you have to put down that you were convicted of a felony. Why? Because your past is relevant to your present. It doesn't dictate your future, but it is relevant to your present. And people are allowed to make decisions about who they're going to be around, who they're going to hire, and who they're going to let in their property based on your past and your present. They don't ask you if you're going to get a raise next year to afford this apartment or even next month. They want to know what you have earned and what you're earning now. You can't buy a house because in 30 years you're going to make $100,000. They want to know if you're making $100,000 now. So to act like your history has nothing to do with your present is a misnomer. Now, should I hold you down because of a mistake you made years ago? No, I would never. But it does inform your rational or irrational thinking. And I need to compare that to who you are now. And sir, you are trying to hustle good-natured, honest, caring people for your financial benefit. And I've said what I said. And as long as you continue to do what you're doing, I'm going to continue doing what I am. You didn't eke onto the grid. You didn't crawl onto the grid. You jumped. You leaped yourself onto the grid. I'll tell you like I tell everybody else. When you stop what you're doing, I'll stop what I'm doing. Okay? It's as simple as that. We are already at 10 o'clock. Lord have mercy. Let me see. Who do I want to do? Is TikTok president still here? Oh, thank you, Sherry. Oh, wait, what did Tina say? How can it be legal, not just community guidelines, but I mean legally? Well, he's supposed to be reporting every financial gift he gets to Social Security, not just at the end of the year, because, and I did another presentation. The way income, whether it's considered earned, meaning a job, or unearned, like it's a gift. When you're on SSI, I believe you're allowed to get like $60, let's just say. They don't count that. But then anything over and above, they counted 50 cents on the dollar. So let's say he got $160. They rubbed the first 60 away. And then they say, well, okay, 100, you got 100 this month. So since we do it 50 cents on the dollar, next month you're going to get $50 less. That is why waiting until the end of the year doesn't count. And what will happen is that if they don't discover it until the end of the year, they will not only alter your payments going forward and say, well, if on average you got earned or unearned $200 a month, well, then we're going to reduce your next year by $100 a month. And then on top of that, they're going to demand repayment for the overpayment for last year. So it will be $100 in reduction and then another $100 to pay back what happened last year. And you want to know what he'll say then? It was TikTok's fault. It was TikTok's fault. Of course he's acting like a victim. Because the worst thing for a scammer is a mirror that tells the truth. Because they're accustomed to white lying or lying by omission or just phrasing things a certain way so that they can manipulate people. And the people who are in there who are so caught up in what he's saying and doing that they don't have anybody with a critical eye. Like if he let me in his box, I promise he would drop me immediately. Why? Because of course he has 2 more mods. Because you know why? He's afraid of the shine he's going to get now. He saw the numbers in here and thought, damn it, if everybody of them comes into my live and starts telling the truth, I'm going to be done for. So of course he needs more mods. But the idea that you put a soldier who fought for our rights, put his life on the line, that you put him in debt to another person offends my sensibilities. That's okay. That's okay. Because by coming over here and telling his people to come over here, they got to hear a little lesson. And they might go back over there and try to co-sign them, but now they know more truth. While they were busy trying to say I was jealous, I was telling the truth. So I'm sorry if some people feel like it wasn't compassionate. I believe that holding up a mirror and telling the truth is the most compassionate thing I could do. And since it's already 10 o'clock, and anybody else that I was going to talk about will still be here on Wednesday, I'm going to take my leave. I appreciate all of you being here and waking up with me early and spending anywhere from 1 minute to 3.5 hours. If anybody has missed any part of this live, it will be posted on my YouTube channel by this evening at Digital Deceiver Shadow, all one word, at YouTube. But I am trying to also remember to post it in my live when it is up on YouTube, so you can have the direct link. It does go fast. You know what I always say, please hug your loved ones, because tomorrow isn't promised to any of us, but we are blessed to be here another day. Please spend some time doing some self-care, because if you aren't whole, you can't be anything to the people around you. Hug somebody today. It makes a huge difference. And even if you think you don't need it, you don't know that person might need it too. And this is a shout out to Aaron in particular, and Awareness Tea. Echo, please play Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake. And that was always going to be the song, by the way.
Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake on Amazon.
Everybody have a great day. I'll see you Wednesday.